So today we are here to rank all the Saw twist ending. Now, if you're new to this channel, we have just reacted to about all the Saw movies. There's two that we've seen in our own time, and like I said in the last video, if you want reactions to Saw 1 and Saw X, maybe we'll do like what we liked the best about commentary, or I could show someone new those two movies. I don't know, whatever you guys want, because I know you guys keep asking for Saw X, but I've already seen Saw X and Saw 1. So, but there's a playlist right here to all the videos, so go check them out. There's like 8, because there's like 10 Saw movies, so go check that out there. Today we're going to rank all the twist endings. Now, with the Saw franchise, that's what it's best known for, the traps, Jigsaw, and the twist endings, because all these movies have a twist ending, and some are better than others. And I'm gonna rank these purely on probably maybe surprise, because I'll be honest, even like the last few that are on like the F tier, it was a hard choice for me to pick, mainly for the fact of there's so many good spots for that, because there are a few good, not so good twists in this franchise where I was like, because either one, I didn't understand it, or two, it didn't really make sense to me, or three, just very underwhelming. So I think I have to go with, if we're going to talk about it now, I think we're going to talk with the worst. Well, I guess we go into the Saw movie orders. Now, if we're going to go with the first Saw, I think the twist for it, S tier. Now, I say that because it's probably one of the most famous twist endings in this, movies in general, because, you have Jigsaw dead in the middle, framed as the dead guy, and everyone's trying to figure out who Jigsaw truly is. And he comes up, and they explain later in the movie how he did manage to do that and slow his heart rate down and whatnot. But I always thought this was a great ending, because it caught me off guard when I saw it. I think I've seen this movie twice. Saw it once when I was in high school, and I remember I was halfway asleep. I was watching with a few friends, and we were like, "What the fuck?" And then a few years later, I watched it again, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot he comes up from the floor at the end. I can only imagine what it was like to see that in theaters. I would love to be in theaters to hear the reaction to the crowd, because I heard a lot of people talk about when they watched this when it first came out. One of the things I said too is this movie is a lot like Seven, and I have not seen Seven, so I have no room to talk on that aspect. If you guys could tell me, well, if you guys want me to watch Seven for the channel, I definitely will. I've heard so many comparisons to Seven for these detective stories, even like Spiral and other movies. I have no idea what Seven is, but yeah, as an introduction, great. All right, we're gonna get to Saw 2, and honestly, I think it's better than the first one in that realm of being the surprise aspect, because this one caught me off guard so fast, because they even took me a minute to process that basically they had this fake out where they have Eric Matthews, I think that was his name. He had to talk to Jigsaw. Jigsaw wanted him to talk to him, if because on the cameras they have his son in the trap with all these other people, and if he would have just sat there and talked to Jigsaw, he would have realized his son was right there the whole time, and the game already happened. And when it had that fake out of this game wasn't happening at the same time, and it was all just pre-recorded, I thought that was a great twist. And even though they kind of redid that twist, and I'm not too happy with how they did that, but honestly, I love the twist. It caught me off guard. And yeah, and I think Saw 2 and Saw 1 are some of my favorite movies in this franchise. So yeah, I think it's a more surprising twist than Saw 1, personally. But we're going to go into Saw 3, and I think I'll put it in A tier. And the reason I put that in A tier is mainly for the fact of, I do like this twist. I think there's two twists going on, right? You got the one going on with Amanda. This whole game, or whatever, this whole movie is all her trap, because, she's what is she doing? She's rigging the traps to where people can't survive it, and she's basically becoming a murderer. So they just, Jigsaw flips this whole trap on her, and later on when they try to mess with this whole continuity and stuff like that. But besides that, I like that twist. I like the twist of it being a trap, and I like the twist of Jeff and the wife, because it makes you allude at the beginning of the movie that the dude she's with at the beginning of the movie is the husband, but it's not. It's Jeff the whole time, which I thought that was an interesting twist as well, because they framed it in such a way where they weren't just outright saying it, and I thought that was really cool. This is probably one of the last most surprising ones, where I was like, oh shit, and then some of these afterward just got a little underwhelming to me, but thought it was a great twist, caught me off guard. So now we're gonna move on to, I think, Saw 4. I think this is Saw 4. I'm debating between D and C, because I'm not a big fan of this ending. D, Yeah, I feel like that's fair. D is where Saw 4 is gonna go, mainly for the fact of I was gonna put an F, but I gotta remember too that at the same time there's kind of two twists happening in this movie. We got the one side where you got the Saw 2 and Saw 3. Wait, is it Saw 2 and Saw 3? No, Saw 3 and Saw 4 are both happening at the same time. And they have that full like circle moment at the end, which I thought that was an interesting twist. I really liked that twist at the end of it. But then you got the other hand where, you know what? I think it deserves more to see. You got the other hand where it's Hoffman, where Hoffman was the guy who was the new apprentice all along. And I just kind of like, you can look back on my reaction, but I was just kind of just watching it like, I felt nothing for that ending of like, Hoffman was the guy the whole time. I don't know if it's because the movie was kind of underwhelming at the same time. It was just an okay movie, with I don't know. And then like and then the reveal of like the whole thing about Riggs being the guy who has to like, he's saving people, so he kicks down doors and he's being punished for it. I don't know. I thought that was dumb. But I think maybe make sure that was put my feelings into it. But I do like the aspect of the two movies going on at the same time aspect. Not too big fan of the Hoffman reveal or whatever, because that was just kind of underwhelming. And now if we're going to talk about Hoffman and stuff like that, F tier is going to be Saw 5. And Saw 5 probably had the most underwhelming ending to me. I just didn't understand. The ending, I get he was supposed to push him in the box and stuff like that. He was just a box, and if he goes down there, and he'll go under and he'll survive or whatever. But I don't know. The way it played out just played into Hoffman's favor so well. I don't know how much I buy that. And then for the fact too, if it doesn't pay off really as well, because you got this character that we don't care about. Like, I don't know. I just don't like Hoffman as a character. I didn't really even start like maybe like slightly enjoying him till Saw 6, but like Saw 4 and Saw 5, I just did not get with this character whatsoever. And even Saw 5 with him like killing Strom at the end, it was just like, okay, I'm not too happy with that ending, and this is by far, from my opinion, the worst Saw movie. Maybe it's Saw 7 worst made, sure, but for enjoyment level, I think this is definitely at the end. And I don't know, I don't really like that twist. I think it's just, if we like the character a little bit more, I think it would be like a fuck yeah twist kind of thing, but just like, you don't like Hoffman. It's just like, hey, here's this character you like, he's gonna get away at the end. Alright, I don't really like that, but we're gonna move on to the next one, and I think it's gonna be Saw 6, right? So I think it would be in B tier, if I'm gonna be completely honest. I actually really enjoyed this twist because I like the whole aspect of they go with this insurance angle and stuff like that, right? And when at the end you have this guy going through, and I don't know how actually it's kind of like a half and half thing on this, because there's another side where it kind of like pulls into that hypocritical end of Jigsaw, like letting him die at the end. He had no option out the whole time through his trap, so he had to die. But the end, it makes you allude to his family, that it's his family, and then his assistant or whatever, right? I don't remember who the other girl was, but it turns out the family was one of the people he didn't give insurance to, and he ended up dying. And his girlfriend on the other end, which I thought that was a really cool twist. It was one of the most surprising twists. And when we got to this movie, I was kind of getting burnt out in the Saw movies for a little bit. Like Saw 4 and Saw 5 was so underwhelming to me. When we got to this movie and I saw that twist, I was like, oh, finally, something to be refreshed about. And I really enjoyed it. So this movie is like, it's not the best movie, but it's one of those movies where I could just get like some fun out of it, because this is probably one of the most fun Saw movies. I will definitely say that. So yeah, I think I'm gonna put it in B tier because it definitely did catch me off guard. Now we're gonna go into Saw 7. See, the thing is with this twist, I like the twist, right? I think this is a very interesting twist, but they didn't do it good. Like, if they would have done this a little bit better, I would have enjoyed it. I think it has to be in between. It has to be D. It has to be D tier. I don't want to put it in C tier because I feel like I liked that whole movie ending, and I liked a little bit more of that twist. They executed it a little bit better between the movies going on at the same time, so I imagine it has to be a D. And mainly for the fact of, I really like the fact that they were going to go like that direction, but I feel like it was kind of forced, especially watching the movie back in editor. I'm like, man, this whole thing kind of felt forced in, because he's not seen for all 6 movies leading up to this point, but then 5 movies, sorry. And then he comes back to be the apprentice, and he's only there for the beginning half, well, not half, beginning like segment, and then he comes in for like the minute where he comes in acting like this evil guy coming in, which also is like, what the fuck, and then disappears for the rest of the movie, and then he's back at the end as the apprentice. It felt so obvious. it was like, I don't know if you guys did that on purpose or it was just like a forced way, like we need to get the script done, so we're just gonna push this in there. But I feel like if you guys would have maybe built up to this, I think it would have been an interesting premise. Like, you know how they like went to the flashback of showing like what he did and stuff like that and how he contributed. I think that's interesting. I think that's really cool, and I feel like it could have done so much better. This whole movie is just like, it could have been so much better with like, it had good premises, but could have been so much better. Like I like the premise of was that dude who faked the jigsaw, him being in the trap, whatever, right? Like, I like that story angle. There's so many story angles that could have gone well, but I think that's the best place to leave it. And now we're gonna move on to Jigsaw. I'll say C. I'll say C. I do. It's half and half, right? Because I do like the twist, and some people saw it coming. I personally didn't see it coming. But looking back at it and thinking about it in hindsight, it is just copying a lot of the other Saw movies in that sense. So I feel like it definitely needs to be down a little bit more. And, you know, we got when Hoffman was revealed at the end. I feel like they should be on the same spectrum right there, just a little bit lower, because I would enjoy the Saw 4 ending. But it's just, this whole, like I said in my review, this whole movie just felt like a compilation movie of the best Saw moments, which would be cool for some people, but for me, it just was an okay movie. It's just like everything we saw before, and they just kind of copy and pasted it. So when it came to that ending, like, I was surprised, but at the end I was like, but they did that already. That's why I didn't think it was him, was because I'm like, they've already done this. So Jigsaw is gonna stay there. I have nothing much else to say about it. That movie I don't have much to say about in general, because it applies to other movies, because they're copying other movies. So we're gonna move on to the next one. My hot take of I like Spiral. So Spiral. The twist, it's kind of like, I imagine C. I think that's right. I prefer it a little bit more over Saw, because I feel like it's a little bit, like, the motivation made sense. It wasn't executed the best. I feel like it has to be in D. I feel like it's better. Yeah, D makes more sense. It's mainly for the fact of, like, the twist, even watching it, I didn't know how I felt about it. Even watching it back, it was kind of obvious. Like, I didn't pick up on it because I didn't think it was going to go that way. But, you know, they showed everyone else in the trap who died in the movie. But the one guy who ended up being Jigsaw, when his trap, didn't get his trap shown. So it didn't really, I feel like that was just kind of like too much of an obvious point. So, and then when it came to him, and then the only part too, I do like the twist about him saying why he's doing what he's doing, because it is a very interesting angle to go on about this. I think it's an interesting commentary on, you know, police corruption and whatnot. And so, it's tough. I don't know if I want it in C or D. I feel like it's got to be kind of in D. Oh, I'm going to bite the bullet, put it in C. I like it because I think it's because I like this movie a lot more. And then, yeah, you know what? Yeah, we're going to put it in C, because you got the other angle, too, where you got Samuel Jackson in that marionette puppet, what's it called, with the strings hooked to him. And then at the end, you know, he has to, I think Chris Rock has to shoot that target, and ends up with him with the marionette thing. And they alluded earlier into the movie with the pig marionette, where he brings out the gun, and he does that kind of like a throwback to that, and makes him do the same thing, and all the cops end up shooting him dead, which I thought was a very interesting way to end this movie. And I would have loved to see how this movie would follow up, and I don't think they're going to follow up, especially for how well Saw X did. But I do enjoy it for that aspect, so it has to be on C, because I have the same things about it where I'm half and half on it. So we're going to make it there. And then we're going to move on to Saw X. Now, Saw X, for the twist ending, I don't know. I actually don't know. Because it's not like the greatest twist in this franchise by a landslide. It's like kind of like in the middle. It's like kind of one of the okay-ish twists. But I'll put it in B. Yeah, I think B, because it's not underwhelming. I'll leave it at B. It could change, but I think I have to see the other movies whenever they come out, where they're going to follow the character at the end, you know, the villain or whatever, when they carry on with her. I want to see what they do with that, so I'm going to put that there for now. I do like the twist where, you know, it's Jigsaw getting ripped off by all these people who were supposed to remove his cancer and stuff like that, and, you know, backstabbing him, he puts him in the traps. This movie's crazy to where they make you feel sympathy for him, and they make him like a hero in this movie, especially at the end when he gets put into his own trap, and you think like, oh no. And so he has the kid and he's trying to sacrifice himself for the kid, and it's crazy how much they kind of rooted him as like kind of a hero in this movie. But towards the end, you know, he kind of has his like one up on them because he kind of had a feeling something like this would happen. So he really wanted to see if he would actually die for her or she would die for him or whatever like that. And she ended up surviving at the end. So C. I think C fits better. It's one of the okayer twists. It's not like the greatest, like oh my god, but it's definitely in the more. No, I don't know. This is kind of tough. This is kind of a tough angle to go here. B. Yeah, we're just gonna leave it at B. I've already made my decision. But this is my Saw ranking of all the final twists. Like I said, Saw movies in the description. Make sure to go check that out. If you guys love the video, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your rankings in the comments. And yeah, peace.